duplicate that, especially coming to summer league guys are trying to find a job, trying to make a team, and, they're playing high intensity. And, to go from college back in April to now, it's tough to be in that type of shape.
Well, how do you work with Zion going forward? Because he is such a unique athlete, his frame is crazy. And if he keeps his weight and conditioning where I assume you guys want it to be, the sky's the limit for him, but you don't want injuries to set in because of weight issues. So how do you start with a guy who's never been in an NBA environment before?
And to the point they made, he did a lot of work in terms of working out one-on-none, getting shots up and doing those types of things, but that's not the same thing as playing basketball. And Aaron Nelson and his medical team with us, it's one of the big reasons that we wanted Aaron Nelson to be our VP of Performance and Player Care.
Ooh, there we go. Nice.
Big words. But he was somebody that was really important to us for this very reason, because anything that they put him through is going to put him in position to be better every day. He's going to work with the nutritionist with us. He's fully committed to all of it. Zion wants to be great.
Yep.
So once he gets into a situation where he's around that infrastructure, he's going to take to it very well.
Now, I have to say, these guys were as impressed as the rest of us with the moves that you have made since taking this job. The AD trade was just the beginning of it. That dominoed into, that dominoed into, that dominoed into, and the free agent signings as well. Paul, we haven't gotten to see you since he pulled off all of this magic. What did you think?
Listen, the Pelicans are going to be one of the most exciting teams in the league to watch. They're going to be must-see TV. You got Ball, who's coming off an injury. People want to see what he can develop into. Now that the ball is going to be in his hands and not LeBron's, he can run the show. You got Zion. Ingram started to come into his own. And so, I can't wait to watch this ball club. They have a bright future.
And to add to that, I think J.J. Redick is a huge piece because I've said it. I've been saying it for the last couple of days. I said Philly's they're gonna hurt a little bit not having J.J. on the floor because he spreads the floor. Yeah, I agree.
Do you expect this roster to be a playoff team?
We certainly want to compete for it. It was really important to us. First of all, Drew Holiday is the face of the franchise. And Drew has upside left in his game as well. I think he really wanted an opportunity to show what he's capable of if he's running the show.
Right.
And we wanted to build a team around his skill set, much the same way we did in Phoenix around Steve Nash. If we could put the right fit around Drew, we feel like he's got an altogether different level. Nobody expected Steve Nash to be two-time MVP when we signed him in Phoenix either. Drew takes that challenge very seriously. So what we want to be doing is playing in meaningful games in April and May, and we want to grow the young kids in an environment where winning matters.
But listen, I've been studying what's been going on with all these trades and these roster movements. New Orleans has a great shot to make the playoffs. There's a bunch of teams that are in the same boat. I list Sacramento in there, New Orleans. I don't know who else, but those two teams right there are going to be in the race for the playoffs.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about Derek Favors. That just gives you another big man who's been in meaningful games. So they have a lot of experience in that locker room to bring the younger guys along.
And we're excited about Derek for the same reasons in terms of fit culturally with us. But he's another kid who has a lot of upside offensively. He's an elite rim protector who was playing with another top 5 center in the NBA.
Right.
He couldn't really show what he's capable of as a straight 5, and with the fit with Alvin Gentry in our system and the pieces that we added in the AD trade, we feel like the fit is really good and should bring out the best in everyone. But you mentioned J.J. Redick. That's the piece for us that was absolutely paramount in all of this. That floor spacing is one thing, but Vince, you know this as well as anybody. Veteran leadership in the locker room when that veteran still has sweat equity is invaluable to a young team.
It's funny you should mention that because Vince Carter is a free agent.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Can you evaluate what you think Vince would bring to any team that he played for?
Well, I can tell you what he would bring to us. But
a little
my perspective,
on-camera recruiting here, which is legal.
This is not tampering.
This is not tampering. He's a free agent. He's good. Go. Give your pitch.
I didn't hear nothing.
So our big thing with Vince, and I think this is true of all veterans, and you've experienced this now for several years in a row, when you go into a situation with other young players, the most important thing for you as a leader is that you're playing significant minutes. And because you're capable of doing that, the fit for him is find the team where he can do that. I hope we're that team in terms of the one you're drawn to, but in terms of knowing we have the minutes, in fairness, I don't know that I can say that.
Right.
So it's a really interesting situation for us because everything that you represent is what we're trying to build our team around.
Right, but we've talked about it for the last couple of days on this show. he plays at such a high level. Someone 10 years, 15 years younger than him, we want to see you play. We want to see you in a place you're getting those minutes.
And if you've got an 18 or 19-year-old kid in the locker room, they grew up idolizing him. So it's something where the fact that he's still playing at a high level and takes care of his body the way he does, it speaks to kids in a way that a lot of guys don't.
Absolutely. All right, so when David sat down, he asked me, he said, do you guys have a what were you thinking for me? Do I need to be ready for everything?
What did you say?
And I said we don't have a formal one, but we kind of have an informal one.
Of course you do.
Because your reaction, Griff, during Friday's earthquake was caught live on camera. I think you handled it very well, but please tell us, what were you thinking?
I thought literally the sky was falling, frankly. What had happened the day before, literally the previous morning, we had felt a quake as well.
That's right.
And we were in our film session in a conference room, and I was leaning against the room divider, and I looked back, and it looked like a wave.
Right.
The chandeliers started swinging, and light bulbs started falling out, so we literally had to get up and run out of the conference room. So I was looking up to see which part of the fixtures here were going to stay up.
Right, and it was, the scoreboard was swinging. The speakers around it were swinging. Now, Paul is an LA native. I'm
no stranger to earthquakes.
Right?
It's been a while, though. It's been some years since I've been in a significant earthquake. So, when it was going on, I was like, there it is.
Spoiler alert here. You're also a hell of a lot tougher than I am.
Right.
So.
Well, there you go. David, thank you so much for joining us. We now know you're a savvy GM and a veteran of anything that happens geologically, you can handle it.
I can handle it. So. Trajan Langdon was sitting next to me, and he didn't flinch. Swin Cash was on the other side. She didn't flinch. So we hired the right people to prop me up.
Exactly.
I know that.
There you go.
That could have been said even before the earthquake. Let's not kid ourselves. David, thank you so much for being here. He's going to leave. Vince, who has been doing double duty for us for like 7 or 8 shows here at Summer League and calling games, we're going to finally let him off the hook. Thank you so much, Vince, for being with us. Chauncey Billups and Zach Lowe are coming in the next break. So please stay with us because we're going to discuss Russell Westbrook. Where is the best place for him to go? First, though, it's time for our distant replay from this date. Griff, you want to do it for us?
This date in 2007 featuring Shannon Brown.
Boom. See? Pro at that, too.
Shannon Brown split.
Nice.
That was back when you thought he was going to be a combo guard, point guard with that kind of pop.
Right.
And I feel like he got more hops as his career went on.
No question.
You know what, Vince? I felt the same with you.